right? So
Mm-hmm.
without further ado, let's get this party started. So let's go ahead and get the update of what happened yesterday in Texas, a mall outlet. And keep in mind, like I said at the beginning of the show, the numbers that they're giving you of death and injured may have changed because, again, there are some people who did go to the hospital in critical condition. So
This is why you were saying yesterday you don't like to jump on news because it still happens.
it
Changes.
It changes so fast that either I'm going to wind up doing another video in the middle of the night going, oh, wait a minute, or whatever. So let's go ahead and just see what's happened in Texas yesterday.
A massive police response after gunfire erupted at an outlet mall in Texas.
We got shots fired at the young mall. I got people running.
One of our officers was on an unrelated call at the outlet mall. He heard gunshots, went to the gunshots, engaged the suspect, and neutralized the suspect.
Hundreds of shoppers were escorted out of the Allen Premium Outlets just north of Dallas Saturday afternoon. Many seen walking with their hands above their heads.
There's this guy dressed in all black, wearing a vest, has an assault rifle, and he's just shooting at people.
The shooting occurred at about 3:30 p.m. local time, with numerous victims taken to the hospital.
Found 7 deceased individuals on scene. We transported 9 individuals to the hospital, to area trauma facilities. Of those that we transported, 2 have since died, 3 are in critical surgery, and 4 are stable.
As the situation unfolded, the city issued a public safety alert warning residents to stay away from the area. Multiple agencies are on the scene to assist in the investigation, including the FBI and ATF.
We have a multi-agency response helping us work the scene. They helped us evacuate the mall. We've set up reunification areas.
Investigators believe the gunman acted alone.
And we don't believe that there's another threat at this time.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has issued a statement saying, "Our hearts are with the people of Allen, Texas tonight during this unspeakable tragedy," adding that he's offered local authorities the full support of the state.
Yeah, I knew Anna was going to throw up a middle finger at that last part.
Did anybody else have a little bit of audio issue there? Every time the narrator spoke, I could hear. Every time anybody else spoke, there was nothing.
No, I can hear.
No, I heard everything.
I don't know what's going on. I have nothing hooked up. I'm not on.
They must have knew that it was going to piss you off more, so they muted those parts just to make sure.
I think my mom was working on the sound voodoo tonight.
Maybe so. Just to put a little gap in here, I had to write down what he said. So he said 7 were dead, 9 was injured. Now the update is, so just to let you know, it's 2 of those people switched from injured to dead within 24 hours. I can spend a lot of time sitting here talking about the tragedies and the shootings and the blah, 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 and everything else. And we always wind up ending it off at the last minute with nothing's going to be done and everything and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go that direction. I'm going to go a different direction. And I'm going to go a different direction of saying this. There was another broadcast, another news story, where the police was saying that they want to interview as many witnesses as they possibly can at the mall. They want to interview them, as many of them as they possibly can, to get a map of what happened at the mall to help them prevent something like this ever happening again. Do you hear what I'm saying?
I hear the words. but my brain don't understand quite.
All I'm hearing, basically, all I can hear them saying is, "Can I interview you where your location was, where you heard the gunshots? What did you see? When did you see it? Where did you see it? So we can put a formulated thing together where we know something like this is going to happen again, but our response will be a little better to cut down on the body counts."
And this was the mall, not the police?
This is the police.
Oh, it was the police. Okay, I'm sorry. Well, that's a good thing. That's what they should do.
Yeah, I would rather you not have people die first. I
Mhm.
would rather stop all the shootings. I would rather you do something about gun reform.
Nobody can agree on what gun reform looks like.
Well, here's the numbers that I got. I got it from Bo too. He had a question on his show. Hey, Theus.
Thank you.
He had a question on his show, which, by the way, this is another reason why there will not be videos that is now circulating on the internet and pictures certainly circulating on the internet and things like that, because people are saying, I don't think some may be thinking it, some may be just saying it, that if you could see the horrors and the tragedies of this, it will force the leadership in Texas to do something about these mass shootings. No. But here's the deal, how I said it. I said the leadership in Texas. I didn't say Texas. 76% of Texas want the age of any type of weapon to be raised from 18 to 21. 72% will want to allow the courts to make people surrender their weapons if they pose a risk of harming themselves or others. So it's not Texas. It's the Texas leadership who have campaigned on, grew their base, raised their money on the fact that they're the good old cowboys of the ye old days, that if it was me that went to that mall, I would have did something. So they can't now go back and go, guns bad. We need to do something. That's not how that's going to work for them. So they have to stay in that. The only way to stop a bad guy with a gun is a good guy with a gun. Mental health, thoughts and prayers, Biden, so on and so forth. So before we get to the second part of what me bashing Texas leadership. Anybody got anything to say?
It doesn't surprise me. Again, assault weapons. It's like the same blueprint. Every single time there's a mass shooting, I already know what weapons used. I already know there was a lone shoot. It's becoming ridiculous. No, it's already past ridiculous. It's already past that point. I don't know what it's going to take. I don't know what it's going to take to make things change. I want to believe they will, but I can't see it. I can't see it because the NRA basically has their hands around the necks of legislators. And this is across several states. They put money in their campaigns. You have Abbott talking about thoughts. He could have kept that thought to himself. He could have just, not said anything. And like I said, the minimum would be a background check, but nope, can't do that because of the Second Amendment. I'm just so tired of it. I can't anymore. I cannot.
Well, I think that part of the issue is that we we are not looking at the right things. It's like in sales where you can have all the right features and all the right details and all the right facts and all of those things, but if you're not speaking to what the underlying motivator is, you'll never close the sale. So first of all, like Marlon was just pointing out the numbers with Texas, how the voters are overwhelmingly in favor of do something, right? But the ones that they voted into office, once they're in office, they're no longer subject to your will. So now they're subject to the dollar. And so they act accordingly. My thing is, that's how it is for our entire government. That's how our federal government works. That's how our state government works. And all of us, I don't care what state you're in or whatever, especially those of us who are of between the ages of, I'd say, 35 and 65, we really can't blame anybody but ourselves, because we're the ones who didn't take it seriously when gerrymandering was happening the way it was happening. You can gerrymander something any way you pretty much want to. We, the voters, still decide what we want to vote for. So you can overcome a gerrymander with numbers if they're not doing what you want them to do. But we're a lazy population and we don't focus that way. So we vote for lawmakers. We don't vote for representation. Okay? We put people in office to be in office. We don't put people in office to actually represent us. And that's our fault. And then as far as the gun thing, I guess I'll do another video. I've done like 2 of them, but one that's just dedicated to the gun thing. There's common sense ways that we can get to it, but you got to make sure you're giving as much as you're taking. And so that's a whole deep conversation. And then what Tracy was just talking about, I feel you don't know what it's going to take, but if we look at history, we do know what it will take. What it took for us to get the assault weapons ban or the automatic weapons ban that we got in the 90s was we had to have more people die. And
I didn't understand that.
This stupid phone. I don't even use it like that, and it's snitching. Special Agent Johnson, leave me alone, man. But but what I'm saying is that's what it took, right? When the violence was just between the Bloods and the Crips and the police, nothing was really moving. But when the violence between them started spilling over and it started creating new gangs and it started having the gang warfare with the cartels, and you started having, like, when it started getting so bad that white people in the suburbs were watching their children get sucked into the gang culture, and they were seeing drive-bys in their neighborhoods and in their malls and all of those things, we got a ban. So if we stay on this track, they'll ban it again. But how many people do we have to lose before we get there?
I mean, Columbine should have been enough. That wasn't enough. Sandy Hook wasn't enough. What is gonna be? That's why I keep asking the question. What is enough? Columbine should have said, you know what we need to do? Something. Nope.
But that's not how people are. Like, it's not how the American is. The American is a bloodthirsty individual. America is all about death and destruction, power and oppression. And that crosses some color lines because we've been together so long. So the American psyche is a dark, twisted thing. So they look at this and they're horrified by it. But just like you said, Columbine should have been enough. Sandy Hook should have been enough. You name it, should have been enough. I would say slavery should have been enough. Jim Crow should have been enough. You know what I'm saying? So we're talking about people that cannot identify with their neighbor. They can only identify with their personal needs. And so long, because we're hyper, what is the American thing? Is about being hyper individual, right? Your rugged individualism. That means no community. We're not tied to each other. You bring up the word socialism, communism, which is nothing but social and commune, and people lose their shit because it's all about the individual. And until we can start to say, we are Americans, we rise and we fall together, shared sacrifice. Here we
And
go.
you think they're gonna pass assault weapon bans?
I think they will, because it'll start to get to a place where it's politically untenable, and the assault weapon ban will be they'll have so many holes in it that it'll just catch certain items. When they passed it the first time, their big thing about that assault weapons ban was getting rid of the MAC-10 and the Uzi. That was really what they were freaked out about. Oh, and the AK-47. Those are the 3 guns that they were most concerned about. All kinds of other guns were out there, but those are the ones they went and got. When this ban comes through, it's going to be the whatever this thing is that they're shooting again. I forgot what it's called.
AR-15.
AR,
AR-15.
the AR thingy. Right? They're going to go after that style. And that's what's going to happen. But then some of the other styles will just become more popular.
Would also create gun regulations with black people opening carrying in California.
Yep, if every black person got a permit, boy, you would see gun control so fast. And
I used to say that.
And that's Dennis
Say it.
Aaron.
I used to say that. I used to say that. But I can't say that anymore.
No?
Because like I said yesterday, I don't care what you do. Hey, Susan, I don't care what you do. We are deemed a threat just because of our existence. So you carry a weapon, and it's not going to be, oh, we got to get more weapons because they got weapons. No, it's going to be kill every one of them that has a weapon. That's how it'll work itself through. Like, I have a thought that I'm thinking of doing. In fact, I would love you guys' opinion before I do it. So I'm gonna have to drop in just a second. My dad's calling me, but I'm planning on going to the local police station and asking them, since I don't have to have a permit anymore, what is the proper way for me to interact with you guys out in the street when I have my weapon on me to ensure that nothing bad happens to me? And I'll use as an example what just happened in Allentown in Texas, because one of the stories was the woman was in there with her children. She hid the children in the dressing room, and then she took her weapon, because she's licensed to have it. She took her weapon out and stood guard outside of the dressing room. Now, if that were me or someone who looks like me, and the police bend the corner into that store, and I'm standing there with my gun, do you immediately think that I'm supposed to have the weapon? Or do you think that I might be the shooter?
Right. I think that's a great idea.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's an excellent
But
idea.
but I apologize. I'm gonna drop, and then I'm gonna come back in now.
Hello to Papa.